The desert is a place of extremes, where survival seems impossible, and yet history has shown that those who master the desert master trade, power, and influence. 2,000 years ago, the Silk Road carved its path through seas of sand, transforming barren wastelands into lifelines of civilization. And now, in the 21st century, China is attempting something just as ambitious. With deserts stretching across Central Asia, the Middle East, and Western China itself, Beijing is pouring billions into reviving and reinventing these ancient trade routes. But the question is, can modern technology overcome the same merciless obstacles that defeated emperors, merchants, and armies for centuries? This is not just a story about trade. It's about geopolitics, survival, and the struggle to reshape the world economy, one sand dune at a time. When you think of deserts, you probably imagine endless emptiness, oceans of sand stretching as far as the eye can see. But to the Chinese dynasties of the past, these deserts were not dead zones. They were barriers and opportunities. The Taklamakan Desert in Xinjiang, one of the largest shifting sand deserts in the world, earned the nickname the place of no return. Yet, despite its dangers, caravans risked everything to cross it, carrying silk, porcelain, and spices westward. In return, they brought back horses, glass, gold, and new ideas. These desert routes birthed cities that flourished like mirages, oases such as Dunhuang, Turpan, and Kashgar. For centuries, they were hubs of culture and exchange. But every oasis was fragile. If a well dried up or a sandstorm shifted the landscape, entire communities vanished overnight. The desert gave wealth, and the desert took it away. This fragile balance defined the ancient Silk Road. It wasn't just a highway for trade, it was a reminder that human ambition could never fully tame nature. Fast forward to today. China's leaders see history not as a tale of failure, but as a blueprint. Where ancient caravans once crossed the sands, they now envision highways, pipelines, and railways. The Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, is China's trillion-dollar project to rebuild trade routes across Asia, Africa, and Europe. The Belt refers to overland corridors, many of which pass directly through deserts. Xinjiang's Taklamakan, the Gobi in Inner Mongolia, the Karakum in Central Asia, these are no longer obstacles but key stepping stones. Imagine high-speed trains racing across lands that once swallowed camels in sandstorms. Oil and gas pipelines snake beneath dunes, feeding China's massive energy appetite. Solar farms rise out of the desert like futuristic cities, turning heat into electricity. Even entire industrial parks are being built in areas where, just decades ago, survival itself was uncertain. For Beijing, the desert is not something to fear. It is something to dominate. But deserts don't surrender easily. And while technology has advanced, the ancient challenges remain. Sandstorms. They bury roads, disrupt railways, and damage solar panels. Engineers fight back with vegetation belts, planting millions of trees to anchor shifting dunes. But nature doesn't always cooperate. Extreme temperatures, steel rails expand and warp under blistering heat, then contract in freezing nights. Maintaining infrastructure in such conditions is costly and relentless. Water scarcity. Oases are shrinking. As modern projects consume more resources, the desert's delicate balance threatens to collapse. Local communities fear that development will drain aquifers and erase what little greenery exists. In other words, while China may lay down steel and concrete, the desert still fights back with sand and silence. There's another battlefield here, not just nature, but geopolitics. Every desert corridor is also a political gamble. Central Asia. Countries like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan see opportunity in China's investments. But they also fear becoming dependent on Beijing's money and influence. The Middle East, deserts in Iran and the Arabian Peninsula are being tied into China's trade vision. Pipelines and railways could help China bypass choke points like the Strait of Malacca, reducing its reliance on vulnerable sea routes. Rival powers, the United States, Russia, and India all watch carefully. Each road China builds is not just about trade, it's about power projection. Whoever controls the deserts controls the arteries of the global economy. For China, desert trade routes are both lifelines and pressure points. A railway through Kazakhstan may look like an economic project, But in reality, it's also a chess move in the global game of influence. Something remarkable is happening too. Deserts are no longer seen only as wastelands. With China's push, they are becoming sites of innovation. Solar megaprojects. Entire stretches of desert in Gansu and Xinjiang are covered with solar panels producing energy on a massive scale. Green corridors. Tree planting campaigns attempt to hold back encroaching dunes, creating green walls against desertification. Smart logistics. With satellites, AI monitoring, and drone technology, China can manage its desert networks like never before. The desert is changing, not naturally but artificially, reshaped into a new kind of landscape. Part trade hub, part energy farm, part fortress. Yet, building on sand always carries risk. Will these projects endure, or will they be swallowed like ancient Silk Road towns? Some experts warn that overuse of desert water supplies could create ecological collapse. Others argue that reliance on authoritarian regimes along these trade routes makes them politically fragile. And there's always the possibility that wars, sanctions, or shifting alliances could turn billion-dollar infrastructure into stranded relics. History whispers a warning. Deserts remember, and they take back what is built upon them. Despite risks, China pushes forward. The vision is clear: to secure new arteries of trade, shield itself from naval blockades, and expand influence deep into Eurasia. If successful, these desert routes could change everything. Shipping times to Europe could be cut in half. Energy could flow more securely, free from choke points. Entire regions once seen as empty wastelands could become central to the global economy. But if the desert wins, these projects could crumble into expensive ruins, monuments to human ambition buried in sand. So how will this story end? Will the desert once again prove unbeatable, swallowing roads and railways as it did caravans long ago? Or is China on the verge of turning history's deadliest wastelands into highways of the future? One thing is certain: the deserts are no longer empty. They are battlegrounds for trade, power, and survival. And what happens in these shifting sands could reshape the balance of the global economy for generations. If you want to keep uncovering stories like this, where history collides with modern geopolitics, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell. On this channel, we bring you the hidden truths of the past and the secrets shaping our future. Don't miss the next journey into history's most fascinating crossroads.